Hey, Cowboys fans, what's good? You are now rocking with the best. You see us on the screen. Roll Paris, Jesse Holley, Bleav in Cowboys. Brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. You see this hat. It is all inclusive. It's not by mistake. You see the shirt. Hey, listen, anybody that knows me knows how I feel about DeSoto. If I turn this just a little bit, you see that's me, that young whippersnapper right there, senior year, over my shoulder. You see him right there too. I got on my DeSoto. I'm DeSoto through and through. I bleed green and gold. And if you don't know, Von Miller, DeSoto alum, is now with the Dallas Cowboys. Jesse, we just got done watching this press conference. What were a couple of takeaways from seeing Von at the press conference that you saw?
Yeah, one, Von Miller still thinks that he has something left in the tank. 37 years old, he's played 16 years in this league, two-time Super Bowl champion. So, this is a guy who has winning pedigree within him. He talked about his fondest memories of, coming to football and about football was hearing his dad yell in the back room and he going back there and his dad is screaming in joy about a Cowboys football game. And, he always talked about, this has always been a dream of his. I can tell you Von is a movie lover because he's like every interview I've seen him done, he's always referencing a movie, Inception, Enter this. And I'm like, I don't know. Von loves to watch movies, I guess, in his free time. But he's talking about this is a dream within a dream. He always wanted to play football in the National Football League, and he always wanted to play for his team in the Dallas Cowboys. Like you said, DeSoto native, he's from this area. And, his biggest thing, he said, that I took away from that, we all know what Von Miller has done in his career. That's evident when Von decides to hang it up. He will most likely be a first ballot Hall of Famer when his time is done. But Von said, I pride myself on being a great teammate. He said, if you can go into the Hall of Fame for being a teammate, I would be a Hall of Fame teammate. He talked about, he goes, man, I can win 10 to 15 plays on the field without me even touching the field. And he said, that's just my knowledge of the game that I'm able to impart on my teammates. He said he learned a lot from Peyton Manning and DeMarcus Ware and Champ Bailey and, Aaron Donald and Matt Stafford. He named a bunch of players. And he's like, they asked him about, where'd you learn to be a good teammate from? And he said, I learned from these other guys in my time. And he says, those things I want to impart on someone else. I want to be sitting back one day and someone's on the stage at the Hall of Fame and they're being inducted and they reference about how good they have become because they were teammates of mine. And I was able to impart wisdom onto them. And so he's really excited about it. I think he understands and he knows. He's like, I'm not going to be out there 60 plays a game. He just said that's not happening. He's like, but if I'm going to play 15 to 20 plays a game, he feels like that he can be the best player on the field for those 15 plays. And when he's not out there, the things that he's able to give these younger guys, and some of them that he's already worked with, as you know, because he has the sack summit that he does every single year. So guys like Donovan Ezaraku and Rashawn Gary, of course, BT Jordan, who's a consultant for the Cowboys, is always there helping him out. Also guys like big interior Quentin Williams, he showed up to sack summit this year. So he has a relationship with a lot of these guys already because of his working off the field in the sack summit. So he's just excited to be a part of this team. He's really excited about being a great teammate and helping the Cowboys win some games.
Hey, no question about it. Just Bleav in Cowboys. Roll Paris, Jesse Holley, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. And everything you said is accurate, especially when it comes to teammates. The one thing, of course, I took away was like he said he also DJ'd in the locker room too. And I know he has DJ equipment at the crib and he loves music. And Von is just he's a guy's guy, a dude's dude when it comes down to it. He likes to have fun. He's not out here doing anything crazy. He loves his chickens. He loves his farm, and he's going to be about business when it comes to being in the locker room and strapping it up on Thursdays, Sundays, and Mondays.
Speaking about business and chicken, Marshawn Lynch also told us make sure you take care of your mentals and dentals and your chickens, but business and chickens. Most of you may not know, but Von Miller owns a chicken farm. He owns a 20,000 square foot facility in somewhere in Texas near Austin. And the business part of this, Von Miller has been posting things on social media, and the number that he's been posting him in a uniform is number 40. Number 40. Von is saying, that's a number that I would like to wear. Well, that number is already taken. That number is taken by one Hunter Lipke, the fullback of the Dallas Cowboys, who's been here for the last 5 or 6 years or what have you. Vaughn said in the press conference that he thinks he's made an offer to Hunter Lipke that he may not be able to refuse. And he jokingly said, I might have offered him chicken for life. He said, I might have offered Hunter Lipke chicken for life for the number 40. So that may not be a bad trade-off. If I'm Hunter Lipke, because Vaughn's not playing a multitude of years. Vaughn may play one more year, right? So if I give up this number for 1 year and it in return gives me some wangs and things for the rest of my life, might not be a bad proposition that Hunter Lipke may not be able to say no to. So the business of number and chickens and how that thing may go about, Von Miller jokingly offered Hunter Lipke lifetime supply of chicken. I don't know if that's chicken wings or chicken breasts or chicken legs or chicken thighs. I don't know what part of the chicken he offered him, but a lifetime supply of chicken in this economy, my boy, you might have had this number.
Nah, no question about it. I mean, like, that's the number that Vaughn wore in high school. He wore it at Texas A&M, and he also wore it at different stops in the NFL. So 40 means a lot to him. It's something that he's been attached to. And hold on, I'm pulling this up just for a visual aid because I know everybody loves to see. Let's see. Let me pull this off. Remove this and add this. That is the picture that he posted. Yes. That was amazing to see. And speaking of, like, we're going to visual aids, let's go and take it to, because I sent you this text message, a screenshot of me text messaging Von Miller, and let's give it to the people real quick. First classic on deck. I text Von to be an honorary captain. And of course, he said he'd do it, but peep my response. This was just last week. Now take a listen to our conversation on the last Von Miller day. Hall of Famer, first ballot. You ain't got to say it. I'm going to say it for you. So we already know what time it is. What's next on the menu? Is Jerry Jones going to give you that call?
And I'm just sitting here waiting. I'm just staying ready. I'm working out. I'm training. At this stage of my career, I just can't go play for any team. We gotta have a chance. We gotta have a chance to win. Right. We gotta have a quarterback, and I can't do it for free. So they kind of cut out.
Hold on. Hey, we ain't working for free.
They kind of cut out a whole bunch of teams. But we're in a great spot. I've done all the work that I could possibly do, and we're just sitting here waiting. It's an exciting time.
No doubt about it. So that was Vaughn at the last Von Miller day, and I specifically asked him about Jerry Jones. I asked him to be a team captain, and I also said in that text message, hey, you're going to be on a roster soon. Now, that text was sent just about a week ago. Shouts out to Bobby Schmurder. And as I sent it to you, you replied with the with the perfect response, saying that, what was it? What was it that you said? It was so perfect timing. It was, spoke it into existence. I said something. I manifested. You worded that thing so perfectly. So it was cool to see that come together and to see him sign up. And I'm DeSoto through and through.
Yeah, and speaking of Vaughn not playing for free, his deal is a 1 year, $5.5 million deal with the opportunity to earn up to $7.5 million. So, hey, you think about that, not a bad scratch if you talk about playing 15 to 20 snaps a game and walking away with, and I'm sure the up to $7.5 million are probably going to be his sack numbers and or playoff wins throughout the year. Because, Vaughn and company know he ain't reaching no percentage incentives of playing 75% of snaps in the season. He knows he's not getting to that point. Now, it might be 75% of third down snaps. That might happen. 80% of third down snaps, which last year with the Washington Commanders on 3rd and 7+, Von Miller played 89.9% of the snaps on third and what we consider third and long. And so, that's one of his specialties where he feels like he can still get after the quarterback. And so he'll have his opportunity to do so. He also spoke about, you heard him say in the clip that you talked to him with, is having a quarterback. People say, well, why is that important for a guy that's on defense? Well, having a quarterback in the National Football League, one, means if you don't have one, you're probably not going to have a chance to win the Super Bowl. Secondly, Von understands, well, if I have a quarterback, there's a very high chance that I'll be playing in football games with the lead. If I'm playing in football games with the lead, that means I get more opportunities to rush the opposing team's quarterback. So having a quarterback means that we're going to play it in front. We're going to be up 10, 12, 15, 17 points, and I now get to go out there and just be special with pass rushing because teams are now trying to get back in the game via the pass, and that's where he is designated to come out there and play. And so he, as far as practice-wise, he won't play. I mean, he's not practicing today in the joint scrimmage against the Saints. He won't be in the preseason game on Saturday against the Cardinals. Von still has to go through, like every other player, there has to be a 5-day ramp-up before he can actually get in full pads. And so because he signed at this point in time, there has to be a 5-day window that he kind of gets acclimated back into the system of things, and then he'll be able to be in pads. I highly doubt he'll play in the third preseason game. But, I mean, Von is one of those dudes who, keeps very good care of himself, works out consistently, worked out down the street from the Cowboys facility at Elite Sports something. Sorry, I messed the name up, but Elite Sports something.
Elite Sports. He also worked out at Sanders Fit as well, downtown Dallas with Melvin and company. Shouts out to Brendan Rams as well. So we know he takes great care of his body. Yeah. I've actually, witnessed him, been in there with him working out. Not doing the same workout, but I'm doing my 1-2-1-2, and I'm like, oh, what's happening? Yeah, I see you. Okay, I'm gonna go back over here too. But now you're absolutely right, spot on. But so saying all that, we know that Von's a veteran. You said it, I said it. First ballot Hall of Famer. The Cowboys probably intentionally reached out at this point because he's a veteran, and most vets don't want to go through the whole thing with training camp. We're seeing the same thing with Aaron Donald. So pushing all that aside, we know that he needs a quarterback. He has one now in Dak Prescott. Previously, Matt Stafford, Peyton Manning, even Josh Allen. He's had success, been on teams that have gone deep into the playoffs, has had postseason success, Super Bowl MVP. When it comes to this season, last season, Commanders 9 sacks, limited duty, not a great team. This team should be better on paper. What do you see the role specifically? Like, what is the ceiling for Von Miller defensively when it comes to this Cowboys team?
I think the ceiling is like Von he's a hired assassin, to use that word in a lighthearted conversation. He's a hired gun. He's going to come in like he did last year for the Commanders and be rushing the passer. But what I think Von gives you more than anything is, and it's not the BT Jordan. I'm nothing against BT Jordan and what his ability to kind of teach the pass rushing moves and all that kind of stuff. He ain't Von Miller.
Von Miller.
So nothing against it. He ain't Von Miller. So,
and I don't think he would take that as disrespect.
Right. Like you can do all your pad work and all that kind of stuff, but you're talking about a guy who's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, grabbing Ezeraku, grabbing James Houston, grabbing Rashawn Gary, grabbing Maris Leofau, grabbing Overshown, and now sitting in the room with him and him imparting that knowledge on them every single day, not only in word, not only in film, but also in person on the field. I think that's one of the greatest values that he brings to this thing of really I almost forgot, Malachi Lawrence as well, a guy who could probably use that level of mentorship from Von Miller. That's the Cowboys' other first round pick. And he's kind of had his rush struggles a little bit. But again, Von Miller, I don't have my expectations for Von. And if you're a Cowboy fan and you think Von has come in to be a savior, then you've sadly mistaken what Von Miller has been brought here for. And I think you are setting yourself up for a major line of disappointment. I think Von has come here to be a contributor, right? And I think it is very specific. They're not asking Von to stop the run and not asking Von to drop into coverage. It is going to be in those moments of time of the game, he's going to be on a leash. And when they go take that leash off and go sick them, that's what they're looking forward to Von to do. And if he can do that at a relatively successful rate, I mean, you look at what he did last year and the games that he's played, it's a half a sack a game. So they're going to be looking for Von to be anywhere from 6 to 8 sacks a game. He said he can roll out of bed and still get 8 sacks.
You get 8 slaps in his sleep. So
well, hey, my brother, wake up. Need the 8. Need the 8. Alarm's going off.
Yeah, Bleav in Cowboys, Ro Paris, Jesse Holley. It is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. And I thought about something, and it's totally unrelated, and it doesn't really correlate, but I thought about Jadeveon Clowney last season. Obviously, an older player, a veteran. He was able to come in at his advanced age, and have a ton of success. I mean, you're looking at somebody, and I don't have all the stats in front of me, but he was amongst the team leaders, and I know that defense was trash.
He wasn't either.
He was among the team leaders when it came to sacks, interceptions, and all the big time plays that make differences. So to say all that to say, when you have a crafty veteran that has played at a high level in this league, that's somewhat similar to Von Miller. I know there's totally different levels, and I'm not comparing the two because Von Miller is a totally different player. But still, when you have somebody that's a veteran coming into a system like this, you expect them to have a tremendous amount of success.
Yeah, and again, but fans' perception of what success will look like. Again, if you're putting this on the back of Von Miller, then you're going to find yourself highly, highly disappointed. This thing is still about Quentin Williams and DeMarvion Overshown and Ezeraku and Lawrence and Revel, all of those guys. Caleb Downs, starring in their roles and being dominant in their roles. And Von just comes in as a cherry on top. He's not the cake. He ain't even the icing, right? Like he's the garnishment after the meal is done. Von has not been brought to this team to add the weight of significance on the field performance down in and down out. That is reserved for those guys that we talked about all training camp. Like I said earlier, Deron Bland and Revel and PJ Locke and Thompson and Kenny Clark and Quinn. Those guys should be the foundation of how this team has become. The defense goes from 32nd to respectable. And then Von comes in and he's just a closer. He's just a guy that goes, hey, guys, great job. I'm going to finish this thing off. You guys did all the hard work. It's like when with the Eagles, right? Saquon and A.J. Brown do all the hard work, get down to the 1 yard line, and Jalen comes in with the tush push. That's Von. Von is the defensive tush push. It's the rest of you guys stop the offense, stop the run, stop the passing, get the third and long. Here I come. I'm a tush push my way to 8 sacks.
Right now, in a similar way, and I know they're almost at different stages, but when you think about someone who was a mentor to Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware, coming over from the Cowboys, going to the Broncos, being able to end his career as a Super Bowl champion. Do you see a similar type situation? And I think Von's a little bit more advanced. He's older than DeMarcus Ware was when he got to Denver. But do you see any similarities between that situation?
Yeah, I see the mentorship. I see you have these unpolished gems. You have a second round pick in Ezeraku and a first round pick in Malachi Lawrence, who for all of what they worth, you need these guys to be special, right? And how do I get them from being average to special? Well, playing time helps that, right? God-given ability helped that. But, it didn't hurt Von Miller that when DeMarcus Ware came in, when he got to Denver, he was already a Hall of Famer, right? DeMarcus was going to the Hall of Fame with or without the championship in Denver. It happened to work out for him. But I think that mentorship is critical. It's going to be key. And most successful organizations, the really good ones, they build these type of pipelines, right? They build these type of things where they have the veteran guys and they're there for a while. And I know that Von's not been there for a while, but he's been in this league for a while. And you bring them onto your team, and those guys are playing while still pulling these other guys up with them. And then after a couple years, that guy ages out. These young guys now become that guy or a version of those type of guys while you go and draft and bring in other guys to now develop them. So it's a revolving door of depth and talent. And that's how you build a culture, a winning culture. That's how you build what they have, in places like Denver. I mean, not Denver, but like in Baltimore and in Pittsburgh and Kansas City and LA, is that you build that level of constantly bringing those players in and drafting young players that gets around them. And now they're blossoming in that. So I think there's some similarities in that right there.
Definitely similarities. And another thing that Von said, imagine if he had went to Seattle. He said he had 2 options last year between the Commanders and the Seattle Seahawks, and he made a business decision going to the Commanders. Man, if he had been up there with DeMarcus Lawrence in Seattle, that would have been crazy.
he chose the wrong quarterback. I know he went to Washington because he believed in Jaden Daniels.
Right.
And he should have went to Seattle and dealt with Sam Darnold. But hey, it is what it is. And I think he learned a lot from there. He had, played some decent football out there, and now he has a chance to kind of, do the same thing here in Dallas.
Speaking of the Seattle Seahawks, that's who the Cowboys played in preseason game numero uno. First time Cowboys had a victory in game one in the preseason in a very long time. We all saw that the star of all stars was Camden Brown, showed up and showed out. The undrafted free agent had 3 catches and 2 tugs, making things happen. The defense gave up a touchdown early, but for the most part, looked pretty good after that. Now, I know it's the preseason, and I know everybody's excited. However, we're going to taper that because it's still the preseason. All that said, what were a couple of takeaways from you that you saw in that first preseason game that stood out?
Of course, right. Low-hanging fruit, Camden Brown is a guy 2.5, 3 weeks ago that nobody knew his name. No, and that is the gift of preseason, is that you get the chance to see some of these players that weren't drafted, weren't highly touted, that most of you didn't know, and myself included, right? You get down to the 6th, 7th, 8th guy on those rosters. Sometimes you're like, okay, yeah, I'll whatever. What is CD? What is this guy doing? And Camden Brown, put the league on notice. I'm like, hey guys, I'm here. I'm developing now. Does that mean that Camden Brown is going to be on the 53-man roster? No, it doesn't. I think there's still a lot of work that he has to do. There's more to when you're the 5th or 6th receiver than just catching a couple touchdowns in the preseason. You got to play some special teams. You got to continue to show this wasn't just a flash in the pan. This is consistently what you are able to do. But to me, there's 2 players that I tip my cap to in that first preseason game. The first one was James Houston. James Houston is another one of those guys who is overlooked, not much fanfare, and all he does is just comes in and does what he does. He did it last year on the football field. In real games that actually mattered, right? And before Von got here, and I believe this in my heart of hearts, before Von Miller got here, and maybe still even with Von here, I think you look at James Houston. James Houston might be the purest pass rusher on the roster today. Like, Von's up there in age, but if you're just saying, hey, go get the quarterback, James Houston does it better than Ezra Raku, does it better than Malachi Lawrence, does it better than Maris Leofau, does it better than Rashawn Gary. And, he's just kind of a little bit smaller in size and can't play every single down, but they don't have any plan for him. They keep drafting over him, trying to, out-scout him. He just keeps showing up and saying, whatever reps y'all give me, the reps I'm going to go out here and dominate. And then my other, kind of hat tip too was Malik Davis. Malik Davis has been on this football team. He's been cut, brought back. He played last year, played well last year. And Malik Davis, they keep trying to do the same thing to Malik Davis. They keep drafting over him. They keep picking people. I mean, they came into this year with the plan that Jadon Blue was going to be RB2. Phil Moffitt was going to be RB2. And all Malik Davis did was just show up and go, okay, that's fine with me. Whatever reps you give me, I'll just go and dominate. And he did it, right? He went out there and he dominated that game. And ultimately, Coach Schottenheimer talked about it yesterday. Malik Davis would be a guy who would be getting more reps in the practice with the Saints and going forward in the preseason. So those 2 guys stood out to me, and I love professional, just football playing dudes. James Houston, Malik Davis, they showed you, you might not look the part, they might not have a vision for you, they may not do anything, but hey, when you get your opportunities, just go ball.
And that's what he's doing. Hey, we continue to ball right here. Bleav in Cowboys, presented by FanDuel. You know what time it is. So looking forward to the next preseason game. The Saints on deck. We know things are happening rapidly. As Jesse said, we will not see Von Miller in any practice anytime soon. He has to ramp up. Highly unlikely we'll see him in the preseason, but September 13th in New York City, where all the lights are brightest. New York, big city of dreams, but everything in New York ain't always what it seems. That's most likely when we'll see number 40 make his debut for the Dallas Cowboys. So that said, time to wrap things up. Hey, Jesse, lead the people with some good words.
Man, like Von Miller did, man, sometimes if you just manifest it and work hard, those dreams can come true. Remember, eliminate the contingencies.
Hey, you know what time it is. We're about to be out of here. You see us taking a nap. Love, respect, and salute.